why are they doing this? Is the only thing I think about DC every time I see that logo on anything is why? Why does it have to be this way? Why is it so frustrating? Why do I feel like I'm being penalized for trying to sell their comics all the time?
This goes out to the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. And it's hard, and it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Nothing feels normal.
No?
Nothing feels right. I know that we're getting back to being open, but with me only being at the store 2 days a week for right now, and reduced hours, nothing feels normal to me. I bet you have a different idea?
Yeah, being open abbreviated hours, and I'm not working all the normal days I would, but instead I'm working a bunch of days you would normally work. So, I don't feel like I'm back in a routine yet, so much as I'm just doing a lot of work at the store. It'll feel differently once I'm working Sundays again, and once we're working till 7 o'clock. That sort of stuff I think will normalize it a lot for me. But otherwise, it's also a lot of projects, and those projects make everything just feel like that's all I'm doing all day.
There are so many projects.
So many
projects. I keep coming up with things that I want to do, and I'm not there.
True.
And I'm not even telling them to you because I don't want to add them to your list.
Oh, that's okay. I don't have time to do your projects.
There you go. There you go. Hey, speaking of extending the hours, when do you want to do that?
Well, I thought you and I would have a talk about it at some point in the next week or so. It's largely based on your availability and how you feel about coming back to the store. Basically, if you can come back and start doing Fridays, I will take over Sundays, and we're back to 7 days a week. And then we'll maybe evaluate from there if we want to, how late we want to be open till.
Okay. Here was my thought for July. Basically the same as June, but adding Sundays.
Yeah. That's basically, if you can come back and do Fridays.
Yeah.
Then I'll just shift my Friday to Sunday.
Okay.
And then the hours are the hours.
But still being open just till 5 until, except Wednesdays.
Yeah, 7 on Wednesdays because that makes some sense. But, even on Wednesdays, we've noticed, once you hit 6 o'clock, it's kind of nothing. And even 5 to 6 is kind of not that busy.
Last week, it was a ghost town between 5 and 7. But this week, it felt like it was a lot busier.
Maybe
it's also because I didn't shut down this week.
That's true.
This week was a weird week for me physically because I didn't really take breaks either of the days.
No.
And I really paid for it Tuesday night.
Sure.
But Wednesday I didn't do as much physical stuff. So I didn't get wiped out as much. I'm still just exhausted by the time I get home.
Plus, Wednesday night had AEW as opposed to Stargirl, and AEW is way more energizing than Stargirl.
Yeah, and if there was Stargirls and Legends of Tomorrow, that'd be something else.
Yeah.
But
it's not.
It's not.
It's just Stargirl.
Yeah, so I think at least for July, we'll keep the hours the same, but extend Fridays. And, that may mean you're driving me.
Yeah, which I already agreed that would be fine.
Yeah.
Basically that works for me because it means I'm working the same amount of days each week. And I like the idea of us being open on Sundays. I didn't love the idea of us being closed on Sundays because I think, especially as the weather's changing, there's a lot more people that are going to be out in the neighborhood on Sunday, and it's frustrating to not be available to them.
How weird is it that working 5 days a week is a huge help for you? Oh my God, 2 days off. What?
Seriously, it's pretty great.
Although to be fair, next week we are taking both your days off for blue stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
But
and then the following Thursday I have a dentist appointment, probably still.
Yeah.
So that becomes a day where it's I was going to do things at home. Well, not anymore.
Sure.
But we'll see.
But you have 2 days off this week?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, or you will.
I will, correct.
Yeah.
I had one already, and I will have another
I guess you will have had those by the time...
In a couple days.
Yeah, by the time this goes out.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of laundry. Yeah. Plan on doing more laundry on Sunday. And maybe cleaning my bathroom some, or whatever. Don't worry, I'm also putting together tiny Kamen Rider Mans and some other fun stuff. I rearranged some of my cabinetry as far as like what's in each cabinet for Transformers, and I'm adding in some Tiny Mans from Kamen Rider, and I'm trying to arrange things in a really aesthetically pleasing way.
And you're putting together a small little section of the website for Kickstarter rewards.
I haven't even started on that, so maybe. I mean, I'm gonna try.
I mean, that was my polite way of reminding you.
No, I had never forgotten, but it is, no offense, not the thing that was the priority today. I had Gina helping me out.
No, I didn't think you'd be doing it at the store. I thought it'd be on your off hours, honestly.
Well, even then, like, I took down all the single issue comics. I made them unavailable on the website.
Yeah, I noticed somebody tried to buy one that we don't have.
They did an order of 3 books, all 3 of which were sold out on. And that was the thing of like, oh, yeah, I mean, until we figure out if Octopus is going to be able to do this, I would rather not have these listed, because it's all those quantities are getting way and way more out of whack.
Do you want to explain a little bit more about Octopus?
I can't remember if we talked about this before. Octopus is
the stuff that you had to deal with. Well, you had to go in early Monday.
I did, that's true.
So we haven't talked about that at all.
Okay. Yeah, Octopus, to those who don't remember, or if I didn't explain it, is basically an intermediary between our in-store database and then a storefront like Shopify, where it links the 2 inventories together and keeps them synchronized in real time. So as we sell something in the store, it changes the inventory on Shopify and vice versa. It's something we needed to do because previously those 2 databases were separate, but that was fine because we weren't even really using the in-store database because we were closed.
Yeah.
Now that we're open, doing it by hand, basically removing things from Shopify as we sell them each day in the store, is far too time consuming to be valuable. It's too much stuff and it takes too long. So Octopus is a way for us to keep things synchronized, but like everything we do, had discussions with the onboarding people at Octopus and filled out all their forms and told them what we needed and explained a lot of the different, how the fields would match up from what we have in our in-store database to what Shopify populates as. Everything was fine. Went in super early on Monday.
Super early?
Yeah, basically in 3 hours early, because it said it was going to take about 2 hours to do, to set up the database, and then maybe an hour to do some training, just to understand kind of how it was all working. So I got in, and then we didn't start until about half an hour late, because the onboarding people were having problems with their computers. Finally got everything going. Had 15 minutes of them not being able to get the screen sharing applications that they told me to use to work right. So we ended up just defaulting to AnyDesk, which is the one we always use.
Yep.
And then found out that basically a bunch of the things that would make it all work and make everything look right, they couldn't do. Specifically, they couldn't get the category tagging to work right. So all the ways that you would go onto Shopify and have like, oh, here's the crime mystery section, here's the sci-fi fantasy section. That stuff they couldn't get to work. Which was bad. The fields that would get the descriptions populated also couldn't get that to work. So basically you would go to an item entry and there would be a title and a price, and then the section that would explain what the hell book it was, that they couldn't get to work. And then finally, worst of all, they also then couldn't get the images that we've downloaded to our database
specifically for this procedure.
Which
took a full day of downloading.
Yeah. They then said, oh, they're too big. And it's like, well, you never said how big they needed to be. And also, the images that we get are dynamically downloaded from Diamond. They change frequently. As Diamond gets new images from publishers, those image files change. So when Octopus was telling me that, oh, you should just resize everything, it's like, okay, that's great, as long as the image never changes from Diamond, which they do all the time, especially new catalog stuff, because not every image is finalized. Frequently, an image that Diamond will get will just be like the cover imagery with none of the trade dress. But then once the book is actually released, they'll update it with all the trade dress so it looks exactly like what's on your shelves. Also, if the cover image should change in some way, and oftentimes like they don't even have a cover image when they go live with the file, that might come a week or two later. So all of these things are like, I can't just resize the images because it's a moving target.
It's also tens of thousands of
changing.
images.
I mean, you can automate that process. There's things that'll do it. We use something that does it every month. But because the images keep changing, it's not possible to do that. Also, we like the images being large because people will hopefully want to expand them and look at the cover images and
help them decide if they want to
find them enticing enough to want to buy the book. Having it be like a smaller, low-res file is like, that's great for a thumbnail, but people are going to look at this real big on Shopify. So anyway, all these things led to us not being able to get Octopus to link up our inventories, which means that it's been another 5 days of the two inventories getting more and more desynchronized. Again, to the point where the single-issue comics specifically sell so fast, and we have so little volume of, and we don't restock enough of, that people are starting to find easily books that we just don't have in stock anymore and can't get. So yeah, I decided I'll just take those down. Either Octopus starts working in the next few days or week and we're able to get our single issue inventory up online and people can start buying those again, or Octopus just won't work and then we're going to move to just graphic novels only on the website because those are easier to keep the inventory synchronized by hand.
Yeah. It's still annoying.
Oh, it's still annoying, but it's something that we can work with in the near term as just a slight frustration rather than having to track all the single issue sales, which are just, it's way too much. I mean, I did it for a couple days and it's like, this is impossible. It adds anywhere between half an hour to an hour of work every single day.
Yep.
It's just too much stuff.
Yeah, not looking forward to that.
No. So yeah, that's where we're at with our Shopify storefront.
Well, it's still valuable to have the storefront available, and
I guess it's not in great shape right now because I haven't added any of the new graphic novels or comics for the last 2 weeks.
It's not worth doing that.
Yeah, if the inventory gets wiped and replaced with Octopus, yeah. And then on top of that, anything we've restocked, I haven't added to Shopify because again,
same reason.
It's all going to change. But that means for 2 weeks it's been like, a lot less graphic novels available because as stuff sells out through Shopify, those quantities are not getting updated when we get them back in, which we do.
Yeah.
So that's fun. That's where we're at with that. That's been a fun process.
You know what? It sounds fun.
When it happened on Monday morning, thankfully it took long enough that I didn't have a ton of time to kill Monday morning after
it wasn't
we
like
basically aborted the process.
They're like, no, forget it. We can't do it.
No,
it was you got 2.5 hours.
It was like 10:15 where they're like, we're not even going to bother doing more training because we have to get these things fixed first. But the hope was in a day or two they would get back to me with what the developers said and how they're going to move forward. But today's Friday. It's been an entire work week, and I haven't heard word one from them about where they're at on it, which means I'll probably have to email Rovi, our specialist, our account rep, this weekend to say, is this happening or not happening? Which is a fun conversation to have as like the second thing you talk to someone about when you've given them a bunch of money to institute a new program for you.
Yeah. Well, this is not at all that same kind of thing, but we had the window company, the glass company, come out to replace the window at River North last Thursday, a week ago Thursday, only to find out they had the wrong kind of glass and they had to specially make it. So then they called on Friday. I paid for the entire thing on Friday because they said, oh, we just need a down payment. I go, I'll pay you for everything.
Let's just get it done.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, thank you. This makes it so much easier. I'll definitely get this done immediately. So immediately is finally next Tuesday, they're going to come out to install it.
We'll see.
Yeah. And of course, we don't know what time. Then they said, what time are you open? I said, we're not.
Yeah.
Well, what day are you open? We are currently not open at that location.
You have to
just
tell us when to be there.
And we'll have somebody there. Okay, Tuesday. Fine. After our landlord sent us a bill for the glass because they got tired of waiting for us to do it and hired someone to do it, and we had to say, no, I'm sorry, we already paid someone, they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're not happy because it's a blight, it's an eyesore.
If it were up to us, it would already be done.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know what to tell you.
For sure. And this is numerous phone calls with like, hey, I know you're busy. Didn't you say we're on the schedule for today? Oh, we'll get back to you. 2 days later, and like things like that. It just keeps going and going.
Yep.
And I get it. They're busy. This is a really rough time for glass companies and board companies, but we use this company whenever we have the need. So it's not like we just picked them out of a phone book.
Right.
We have not reputation. We have an account history with them.
Yeah.
For what that matters. So I mentioned Kickstarter before, and the Keep Reading Comics shirt by Gene Ha, the Kickstarter ended. It did well. We had 140 people pledged to it. And when I told everybody that the shirts would be fulfilled in July, I didn't realize how much extra time would be needed for surveys. And I can't place the order until everybody fills out their survey, so we know how many shirts we're getting of what sizes.
Definitely going to be some stragglers.
And there's definitely going to be there are even employee stragglers, and we are just giving employees shirts. And there are several employees I've had to ask twice so far. Just tell me what size you want.
Yeah. What size shirt do you wear? Just say it.
Yeah.
You must have worn a shirt at some point recently. I mean, at least one shirt.
Yeah.
Just look at the tag on the back.
It was after I asked everybody the first time. I got a few responses. There were still 3 holdouts. Then I sent another email, and there's still 2, and they're just not getting shirts. Then that's all.
Yeah.
Like, what am I? I'm not gonna chase you down to give you a free thing.
Right.
But in talking to Ryan Brown, who's done a lot of Kickstarter fulfillment on his own, he had suggestions, and we had multiple people during the campaign say, "Hey, I want to order more than just one T-shirt." And Kickstarter doesn't give you that option. Like, you can't just double your pledge and get 2 of a thing. So we need to do a little website stuff to make it easier for people to get extra shirts if they want. Or, and I think I told you this yesterday, we can just email everybody and say, if in the survey,
if you want more, tell us which ones. We will send you an invoice.
Yeah.
Which, man, I'll investigate it tonight, but I don't think it's. What we're looking for is basically like a password protected portion of the site where only specific people can get into order stuff, and I genuinely don't think our Shopify account and site has that functionality. Like, I think it may be a thing where we would have to basically create a separate site with a separate password, and I don't know how quickly that could be done. I'll have to look.
I mean, even if it can't be password protected, if we can just have a section that's like you had said, build a set or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a matrix item. Where you basically say, like, a shirt is this, and it has these options, pick an option.
You can put that, but it's a disclaimer saying this is for Kickstarter orders only, and if you do not support the Kickstarter campaign and you try to order this, we will cancel your order.
Yeah, I think it'll just be something more along the lines of, like, the name on your Shopify order has to match a name on the Kickstarter for us to bundle it together.
Yeah, and honestly, it only needs to be up for as long as the surveys are out.
Sure. Yeah,
so it's a temporary thing.
I'll take a look at it tonight.
So I want to get that. I want to get the surveys out hopefully by Monday.
Sure.
So it'll take a week probably for people to answer. I don't know how long. Then we could finally send the order into Terminus and get the shirts made.
I mean, at worst, the page, the collection on the site will be up on Sunday. At worst.
Okay, that's cool. That's the timing that I could ask for. Thank you. That is it fits in what I'm trying to do.
Great.
Because you got nothing else to do.
It's true. Finally got all the comics off the wall from River North logged into the system at Bucktown today.
Oh wow!
Tomorrow I got to do drama graphic novels and hopefully manga, just to get those boxes all up out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Lizzie, I think she's in tomorrow.
Yep, Lizzie's in tomorrow.
Start. Basically, we've got a whole bunch of boxes of restock books, but they're all in various order.
Yeah.
I'm going to have her start combining those all into one so that we can start actually using them for restock instead of it just being in the back.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we are 18 minutes into this recording, and we have yet to say, what did DC Comics do to comic stores this week?
Oh, man, DC Direct.
Yep.
Oh, God.
That's the thing. So, DC Direct, which
Here's something real quick.
Uh-huh.
We're going to talk about it, but I looked at DC's consumer catalog. They're like their DC previews, which is now called DC Connect.
Yeah, do you look at issue 2 or issue 1?
The one that they released today for
issue
September
2.
shipping product.
Yeah.
It's a PDF.
Yeah.
It's kind of terrible because it's way too over-designed. It's very difficult to see on a given page, like, what is the information here? It's very image-heavy in that you'll get gigantic images and like a little bit of text in a corner, but you also have like little call-out slugs and variant covers, but everything is just weird different sizes. There's no uniformity to it, which makes like navigating it kind of frustrating. Like it gives me anxiety reading it because it's just so busy.
Yeah.
It is not a smooth reading experience. It is way too over-designed. But they have a thing in the back when they get to the DC Direct section just before that. And it was amazing to me because I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is a consumer-facing catalog.
Absolutely. It is made for consumers. It just happens to be a thing retailers can
They
use.
basically have the entire recent DC email FAQ about how they have new distributors for DC Direct products.
Huh.
Including phone numbers and email addresses for different distributors.
Wow.
And it's like, boy, this is not appropriate for, the end user, basically the consumer, who's like, oh, do I need to open an account with Lunar to get these? Is that how this works?
From Entertainment Earth? Okay, I'll do that.
Is this how it works? But yeah, that was the thing. DC Direct announced, because this was, when DC had announced that they were starting 2 new distributors, it started as just kind of a stopgap measure, but then Diamond's like, no, we're doing stuff too, and we're going to catch up in just a few weeks to wherever Lunar and UCS are at. And then DC told Diamond and the retail community simultaneously that DC would be leaving Diamond, and that the only 2 comic distributors would be UCS and Lunar, with Penguin Random House being a 3rd distributor that would then do graphic novels alongside the 2 comic distributors. But the question was, what about DC Direct products? Like, what about action figures? What about statues? How does that work? And
they finally told us.
Yeah.
And
to be clear, once again, this was DC's terrible messaging, because that shouldn't even have to be a question.
Sure.
Like, but they genuinely were like, wait and see. Like, well, that's great. Like, what if you're a store that orders a ton of DC Direct statues, which you had already ordered through Diamond over the past, year?
Yeah, and the DC Direct stuff isn't, 3 months out.
No.
It is 6 to 12 months
Yeah.
out. But breaking with tradition, DC didn't drop this news on Friday. They actually dropped it late Thursday night.
Yeah. Giving us a whole extra day to process it.
Yeah. So anything that we've ordered from DC Direct has been canceled through Diamond.
Yeah.
Now, DC Direct is their line of
this is
DC-produced action figures, statues, toys, and props and stuff.
What's crazy to me is that this is everything we've ordered. Like, if it hasn't come in yet, even if you have it on order and had FOC'd it recently, canceled.
Nope, canceled. Forget it.
2 months ago, they're like, yep. And then a month ago, they're like, yep. And then a week ago, they're like, yep. And then 2 days ago, it's nope. So if you were a store that had ordered it, and this is what a lot of stores do for these high-ticket items, took deposits from your customers, guaranteeing them the product, DC's like, oh no, those are canceled now. You have to order them through someone else.
Yeah.
And the someone else's are Lunar and UCS, but then they also added an Entertainment Earth and Sideshow.
Which, more options than the publishing arm.
It's true. But
it's important to separate the fact that DC Direct, though, under DC's fairly recent reorganization, had been taken away from DC and moved to Warner Brothers. So it's not actually a DC Comics decision, even though it's DC Direct. Mm-hmm. This is entirely Warner Brothers.
Their consumer goods division.
Yeah.
One of the fun things that's already happened because of the way these distribution changes are seemingly, despite DC assuring us that these decisions were in the works long before coronavirus and COVID-19, and so much thought and work had gone into them. Oh, by the way, the DC Direct items are limited edition items, and they don't have them to give to 4 different accounts. So, like, the Todd McFarlane Batman Black and White statue, they had to reallocate them just to Lunar and UCS and made them effective immediately, and have to do a completely different production run to be able to have them for Entertainment Earth and Sideshow, despite telling you immediately to order them from Entertainment Earth or Sideshow or Lunar or UCS.
And honestly, that McFarlane Black and White statue, which is the 100th?
100th Batman Black and White statue.
Is the most ordered DC Direct item in a very long time.
Oh, they had announced it in a huge press thing at San Diego last year. We had people asking us that day if we could get them the Todd McFarlane one, and we had to go, it literally has not been solicited yet. They announced it yesterday. It's gonna be a while. So yeah, once again, like the frustration of having orders confirmed and locked down, and then having DC just go, oh, that never happened. Nope, no confirmations. Yeah. Start from scratch. And it's like, now people are scrambling, and this is even worse because it's limited edition items. These things get allocated.
And even though they said they were going to do a new print run of the McFarlane Batman statue, all the Batman black and whites have a black base, but the second editions all have a white base.
I think this is different. I think a second production run is different than a second edition.
Okay.
So they'll just make more.
Because you can just see the differences up on that shelf there.
Oh, sure, yeah. No, I've seen them.
And honestly, don't like the white bases.
Some people don't. I mean, that's what makes the black ones premium and makes people pay a premium price for them. And that may change, how collectors feel about what they thought was a limited to 900 that then becomes a limited to like 1800 or whatever.
Here's a quick Batman black and white statue anecdote. I was looking through a lot of old store photos last night. I was trying to find a good picture of my mom in the store. Mm-hmm. And I specifically remember taking photos of her and Sam making the arrival date cards that we used to use.
Sure.
The week or before we opened.
Yeah.
And for the life of me, I cannot find it. So then I'm like, all right, well, let me just dig through parties and stuff. And there's several pictures, but there's no good solid, because I want to put up a picture of her in the store, and I wanted it to be a picture of her in the store. Oh, I just thought of one. Oh, okay, I got one I can look for later. But I didn't start getting Batman black and white statues until they were out for a while, and I'm only getting like iconic Batman artists to me, and also ones that are on super deep clearance.
Sure.
But one of the ones I had to go back and buy full price for once I started buying these was Jim Aparo. And Jim Aparo is like there's two main Batman artists in my head for my upbringing of a Batman fan: Jim Aparo and Norm Breyfogle.
Wow. Okay.
And the Breyfogle black and white statue is incredible.
I thought it would have been somebody else. I thought Breyfogle would be too late in your readings.
No, who else would you think?
Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
I mean, I love him, but he didn't have
He's not an iconic Batman artist.
Right, he didn't have a Batman run.
Alan Davis, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, but he didn't have that long of a run either.
I mean, he had a pretty...
He came after Aparo.
I don't want to say he was definitive. Marshall Rogers?
For his 6 issues on Detective?
That was a big deal to some people.
Sure, I
get
you. But, okay,
sure.
we can quibble that forever.
Sure.
And honestly, like...
it's just I think of Breyfogle. Breyfogle is someone I grew up with.
Sure. I was reading Batman then, too. But then I went back and I got the Gene Colan Batman, even though he's not an iconic Batman artist. He's an iconic artist who I liked, and I got to meet him. I'm like, I'll get his. And then Carmine Infantino, because I got that on clearance. But then I'm like, all right, I need to get the Jim Aparo one, because I never got that one, so I had to buy it online somewhere.
Sure.
Going through these photos, we had that Aparo Batman black and white statue when it came out.
That's funny.
I saw it on the shelf. I'm like, what? I could have got it from us?
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, the McFarlane one, and like we ordered that one just for the store, and we don't usually order that stuff.
Not anymore.
And a lot of a lot of these things we had dramatically reduced what we get because people just don't buy DC Direct action figures. For whatever reason, they don't.
Yeah, they really don't.
So, and we did have on order some of the fun new Batman animated ones, the Batman Who Laughs, a new Harley Quinn, a Catwoman from the animated series with blonde hair.
And we have done some other stuff. Like, I know the Batman Nightfall figure we sold a few of, and there was a Catwoman Nightfall figure that came out around the same time. Like the Jim Balent purple costume, like that sold well.
So, I mean, we do pick and choose.
Right, for sure. We definitely don't do, like, full line for DC Direct action figures or statues.
But with all these canceled things, we just said, fuck it, we're not doing it.
Yeah, we may change our mind if people start making requests or whatever, but in general, like, it seems like a giant hassle for something that is not something we're super invested in emotionally or financially.
I mean, moving forward, new things, maybe, but I'm not going to go out of my way to reorder the stuff.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
And I'm also worried about shipping that kind of stuff from Lunar.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten any orders from Lunar yet because it's still 2 weeks away from our first order that we placed to come out. But people who use UCS have been getting crazy burned with certain items that they order for some reason are not discounted. So they're paying full price.
That's insane.
There was somebody who had to reorder one issue of a comic, and they paid $4.99 for the book. And after shipping and handling fees or COD fees or whatever, blah, 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 they had to pay $22 for that $5 book.
To sell a $5 book to somebody.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, and once
Does
one
not seem
person
cost
showed that,
effective, but I'm not a businessman.
many people came out and said, "Yep, me too. Same here."
Jeez.
They charged us like $20 to ship 4 comics.
I mean, that is a fear. Like, that was one of the first things that people in the retail community complained about when they learned they would have to go through an additional distributor to get their DC books is my freight cost just went up probably by a lot. And certainly, like, it's going to be even worse if companies like UCS and Lunar do not have the sort of deals with freight companies that companies like Diamond and Penguin Random House do. You know?
Yeah.
Where suddenly it's like, oh no, you're paying, like, not a sweetheart. They get a good deal from UPS for using them as their main shipping company, but it's you get a tiny discount because you are shipping a bunch of stuff, but they're not really going to go out of their way for you.
And there's too many questions about reorders. Like,
Sure.
since you're getting books shipped every week from them, can you just hold your reorders, or is it an automatic send? If it's automatic send, then you're paying way too much for too little, kind of thing.
And I mean, I don't want to like do another thing where I complain endlessly about DC and the choices they've made over the last few months. However,
It is implied.
one of the things that's incredibly frustrating about this is that one of the few things DC would say about why they were getting rid of Diamond and going with other distributors was how these new distributors are going to make things easier and better, and how like Diamond was kind of holding them back to an extent. Almost everything I'm seeing with UCS and Lunar is that they are not ready to be doing this job yet. You and I had talked about how final order cutoffs work. With Diamond for final order cutoffs, as you adjust your numbers up to the deadline, you're allowed to keep adjusting those numbers up or down as much as you'd like. And each time you input a number, that becomes your new order.
It's overwritten to be. So if you're getting 100 copies of Batman and then you type in 110, then you're getting 110 copies of Batman.
But the next week, if the deadline hasn't passed and you make it 90, you just type in 90, your new number is 90. However, what Lunar's doing currently with final order cutoff is that if you had, you have nothing in the system right now. You have no number. So if you say, okay, I want 100 copies. Cool. The ordered number is 100. Okay, great. Now next week, it's still not a past deadline yet, but I've had 7 more people subscribe to a book. Okay, cool. I want to make the new total 107. Great. Your new total is 207 copies.
Because they combine the orders,
Yeah.
they don't take the new one.
You're not adjusting it. You're creating a completely separate order, which also means that I guess you can't round your numbers down. Like, once you give them an order, it seems like it's currently locked in.
Well, what you have to do, from what I understand, and I have not investigated this, and first of all, I'm just going to point out that as of now, there are no initial orders through Lunar.
Right.
And what that means is once a month, like right now, I'm doing all the orders for August for everybody except DC. And we would go in and say, all right, here's all the Marvel comics we're buying for the month. Here's the issue numbers, here's the totals, blah, blah, blah. Well, with Lunar, you're just doing it on a week-by-week basis. So if you've inputted your orders already, and then these books are on like because you can go through and do your DC orders through Lunar week by week by week, just broken down by week, as far in advance as things are in their system. Which we don't usually do it that way week by week because we consider that we want to make sure our numbers are exact for the final order cutoffs.
Right.
So what you would have to do is, for that specific issue of Batman, don't change it on FOC. You have to go back into that initial order and change it there, if you don't want it to be combined.
I see.
Like, if you just wanted to say 7 for the FOC, great, it's adding 7 to your total.
Okay.
But you can go back into the original order and make that 107.
Okay.
Which is a whole bunch of extra work.
It definitely is.
And one of the things, like the DC Connect catalog, because I was looking through, last night I was doing the orders. I was starting the orders for, as I said, for August, and DC is still in Diamond System. And the DC Connect catalog #1 is formatted and laid out the exact same way the orders are in Diamond System. That is not the same way they are in Lunar System.
Okay.
So, and I told you this last night, since we still had all that sales data and subscription numbers, I went through and did the full DC orders as if I was putting them through Diamond. I just wrote them by hand on paper, so I can use those notes when I do the FOCs for Lunar. Here's a quick question for you, though. Should I zero those numbers out through Diamond, or doesn't it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
They'll just get canceled.
But Lunar has them in order by release date. And you can change it alphabetically by title for that individual week, which I may do. I'm not entirely sure, because I have to figure this out as we still go along. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know how this goes. So apparently Lunar is working on a way to have an initial order function, and Comic Suite is apparently still working on a way to import everything.
Man, like even setting aside the Comic Suite thing, which, I mean, that's just a function of DC not telling Diamond that they were fired until the day they were fired.
Yeah.
So much about the UCS and Lunar stuff, and just the functionality is so much below what we had with Diamond, that the argument that, like, DC had to get rid of Diamond because Diamond was too far behind the times, it's like, you're not even at their level yet with these other companies.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near ready to go. So the idea of suffering through worse service because the companies involved are working so quickly to get up to just a baseline level of competence is like, it's insult to injury at this point, where it's like, Jesus Christ, like, we're suffering so that DC can do this thing that is also functionally worse than what we had before. Like, why are they doing this? Is the only thing I think about DC every time I see that goddamn logo on anything is why? Why does it have to be this way? Why is it so frustrating and so... Why do I feel like I'm being penalized for trying to sell their comics all the time? Like, it is killing me on a daily basis that there is zero positive, like zero. There is not one positive thing about them switching to new distributors. It is all different things that are harmful to our finances, to our peace of mind, to our workflow,
to our subscribers' benefit.
Our subscribers. Like, this next catalog that we're going to be emailing people about probably in the next week is September stuff, and it's the first one that is completely divorced from Diamond's database and catalog. And I genuinely don't know what we're going to do with special orders. I don't know what's going to happen when someone's like, okay, cool, I want this cover for Wonder Woman. It's like, I don't know how to do that right now. I don't know how to make that note. There's currently no way, for the 11 or 12 covers they have for Detective 1027. Like,
How are we even going to pull club for these new books that we've already FOC'd?
Slowly.
Yeah.
That's the answer. All the DC stuff, how's it going to get done? Real slow.
I mean, I don't have any idea how we're doing this, but that's not my area.
No.
One of the things that weirds me out about the division of labor at Challengers is we each have our own separate things that we do.
Sure.
But push comes to shove, you can do all of my tasks.
That's not true. I don't know all the passwords.
Push comes to shove, I can't do like half the things you do.
Yeah, but I would argue that a lot of the things you do are so crucial to the ongoing
I'm
heartbeat
not,
of our storefront.
I'm not saying
the
who's
stuff
is more important.
I'm saying yours is more important.
I'm just saying if something happens to you,
Uh-huh.
if something happens to me, which it has, but it hasn't kept me from doing
Sure.
a lot of the stuff that I do.
Sure.
It's just not in the store.
Right.
But if something happens to you, I can't do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, but a lot of what I do isn't that useful. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not useful, but it's not integral. It's things that hopefully are good and helpful to our customers, to our business. But, like, I mean, books would still come in. You could still pull club.
Sure. I
would just offer less options, maybe, or do things in a slightly different way. But
yeah, and I
mean, people
can't
would still
send out
get their comics.
emails. I can't do the website.
I mean, most comic shops don't even do that. What's the difference?
I'm just saying it would be a.
And I appreciate that. I do appreciate what you're saying, and I'm
No,
glad.
I'm not complimenting you. I'm saying that you deliberately
Shut your mouth.
gaslight me on how to do these things, So
I don't want to get
you
fired.
can feel superior.
I don't want to get fired. Oh, I told Gina today that neither her nor I remembered to put on our name tag. And it was after someone who was brand new to the store and brand new to the neighborhood ended up getting a bunch of stuff and being really excited about finding the store and had to ask our names because we weren't wearing our name tags. And I did let her know after he left that we were both going to get fired because we weren't wearing our name tags.
I mean, you're on thin ice.
Yeah.
But it balances out because I had to, in my apartment, I had to let in a maintenance worker today. And he called to say he was here because the landlord gave him my number. And he's like, can you buzz me up? I'm like, no, the buzzers on this building haven't worked in forever.
No, those are purely ornamental.
I have to come down and let you in, and it's going to take me a few minutes, so please be patient.
Yeah.
And I get all the way down, open the door, and I see him, and I thought, oh, I'm not wearing a mask because I forgot.
I did the same thing.
Because I'm home alone by myself all day.
When I
immediately had to run up and get a mask.
To let a technician in, I didn't know they were coming. I just heard the knock on the door, so I'm like, oh, let me go run and get the door open. And I was getting ready for work, so I was not 100% dressed, so I had to like throw pants on and quickly run to the door. And then realized that I threw pants on, but I had to throw a mask on. So open the door, and there's a guy in a mask, and I realized, oh, Christ. But by that point, it was, I was already coughing on him, so
that's
fair.
Not true. So
that's
I put my mask on as soon as I got back up, and then I was so paranoid that, and he was only in, he walked to the dishwasher and stood there and fixed it, and he left parts behind. But I was so paranoid of that whole exchange that as soon as he left, I Lysol down the whole area. I threw away the leftover parts. And then I cleaned the area and myself because I'm like, well, here's a stranger who's in my apartment touching
my
these
biome.
things. Yeah, exactly.
My precious biome.
Like, it's one thing when I'm out in public or in the store.
No, I get it.
But this is like, this guy, and he was wearing a mask, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forgot because I'm not thinking about it.
Because you're in a space where you don't wear a mask.
There are times that when I'm leaving to go to the store, it's not until I see your mask I'm like, oh right, mask.
Yep. It's a mask day, which is to say a regular day.
But, I mean, I don't have a lot of regular days.
I tell you what, they're walking to work today.
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw more than one mask.
Oh, man.
Like, people know when they're inside a place to wear a mask, but what's frustrating is that when they're going to a place, they don't put the mask on until right when they get there. And it's like, I don't know if that's how you're supposed to be interacting with your mask. I don't think you're supposed to be touching it and putting it on and off that often. That feels like not how it's supposed to work.
Well, I mean, I'm only wearing a mask in public to show my disrespect for our government.
Cannot believe that was an actual interview given by the President of the United States who suggested that people wearing masks in the middle of a pandemic were doing it to personally spite him. Unbelievable.
I do love the karmic articles of, like, there was a police chief from, I can't remember where, Georgia maybe?
Sure.
Who refused to enforce the state mandated law of masks. He's like, I'm not arresting people for that. They're not criminals. He was going to a law enforcement meeting at the White House and was denied entrance because he tested positive for COVID-19.
Well, there was that basketball player who, when a press thing was happening and they had their microphones out and they were asking about the potential spread of coronavirus in the NBA, and he licked all of their microphones.
He touched them all.
Yeah.
With his hands.
And then tested positive for coronavirus like 3 days later. It's like, oh, that was super funny of you.
But the this same police officer who was like tested on a Thursday or whatever claimed he got it at a rally that previous weekend.
What you mean, like a protest?
He said the word in the article is rally.
Okay, because there have been I think tests done of people who participated in recent protests, and the positive cases is incredibly low. Like, people were wearing masks, they were like being considerate about their safety, and I think that's great. That's amazing. That was the fear that I think a lot of people had was, I like what the protests are doing and what they're saying. Doing it in the middle of a pandemic feels kind of dangerous, but people took that risk and they managed to still be safe. So I think that's great.
This is slightly off topic, and we're trending that way. But with the recent loss of my mom, other relatives are starting to reach out on like social media platforms. And I got a friend request from I don't know how these things work. My second cousin, basically my mom's cousin's son.
Okay.
So, like, my second cousin or whatever,
Sure.
who was much older than me. But I'm like, you know what? Sure. I haven't seen this person in forever. And as soon as I accepted his friend request, I got a messenger message, and it was just this screenshot of a letter about putting under God in the Pledge of Allegiance. And just like, this is a really easy experiment, you know? If you agree that under God should be in it, you pass this along to somebody else. And if you don't, you just ignore this experiment over. And I thought, this is what I'm getting from him now?
Yep.
And then he sent me a nice message about my mom, but he attached it to a photo I had posted from August of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It was just a photo of me.
Weird.
Talking about my then 28th anniversary in comics retail. Why? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, to me, Facebook has always seemed like a computer code version of a bear trap.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why anyone's using it, what they get out of it, other than immense pain.
We haven't done this in forever. We had set up the Challengers subscribers group, and we talked about it months ago that I had to set up a new Facebook account to reach out to a bunch of subscribers. And now that account is basically derelict. Like, I don't do anything for it. And we never post in the subscriber page because it was mainly for FOC stuff and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I want to. I occasionally see something where it's like, we should have stumped for sales on that. But it's like, I just genuinely do not have the bandwidth for it. Like, it's so far down the list of what I have time for.
I don't know where these are in the files, but we were going to start doing the on sale date individual title release graphics that we were doing at Blue, but for Red.
Sure.
And we're going to put them inside the sidekicks. You know, there's 4.
Sure.
So I'll take those over if you just want to shoot me the template.
It's in Dropbox somewhere.
Okay.
I don't
I'll go
remember
looking
where.
for it. Because, I mean, I like that it was...
probably in Blue.
It was...
Probably. Or could be in signage. I don't know.
Okay. I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Not today, though. It's just advertising one book per week
for
the next 4 weeks.
One of the reasons why I wasn't jumping to do that again, not just a time thing, all that stuff is so fluid right now that it's real hard to find. Like, there was a site I would go to. Well, because you want to have... My goal was always one per week, so you need basically a month's worth of dates.
Right. And you wanted them far enough out to get people excited for them.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you don't... Once they've come out, you got to take them down. So you need 4 weeks worth.
Yeah.
And the last few weeks have been really difficult to say what's coming out in 4 weeks because it's like, when you do FOCs. I think it's getting easier to do that now. Like, looking ahead at the stuff that like Marvel and DC are going to be releasing in September, it feels not like 100% of production, but it feels a lot more robust than it was feeling some weeks in June.
You saw the new format for the image emails, like we get the
I did, yeah.
Jeff Stang retailer email Thursday night, and then we got the new sales manager's email this morning with a whole bunch of PDFs, which I haven't read yet.
Yeah, which is great. I think it's...
So agreed.
I'm curious if that's going to work well for them. I like the idea of, instead of getting, 8 different check out our new title and new graphic novel emails from Image over the month, I like the idea of like, here they all are. Here's every single one of them in one email. Check them out.
But this is
like Zdarsky's got a new one.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. Him and Ramon Perez.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, dude, doing a horror book. Into that. Stillwater. Very into it.
Some of them don't look great. Some of them I don't like the logos.
I mean, that's Image though. Like,
sure.
If Image has 6 new titles that release in the catalog, there's like 1, maybe 2 that are killer. So smart.
I'm excited
Gonna make a bunch of money. There's 2 that are like, yeah, I guess. And there's 2 where it's like, Jesus Christ, is there anything you will not greenlight?
I'm excited for Dracula, motherfucker.
Yeah. Alex DeCampi and Eric Anderson. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like doing like a Once Upon a Time in a Hollywood version of a Dracula story. Sure. Easy sell.
Yep. But anyway, so the new sales manager, who's actually been in this position for a few weeks now, just so there was never a formal announcement. I don't recognize their name.
I'd have to go look. I don't remember.
I don't know that you would have either.
I didn't even look, I don't think.
Okay. Like that's who the email came from is all.
Sure.
And then at the bottom, it's like, hey, here's the sales staff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, that person. Nothing for nothing. I just, since we talk about books we're excited for, I really like Young Justice, and I'm very sad it doesn't sell well.
Oh, I'm not very into it right now.
Yeah, I know.
I was filing some older copies because of stuff we had from River North.
Sure.
I'm just looking at covers, and it's kind of the same problem I have with Legion of Superheroes right now.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what character is this story even about? Like, at least with Young Justice, currently it's about Superboy.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have 15 characters in this book, and I feel like they are wallpaper.
Yeah, but I also love the fact that there's like 15 Young Justice characters.
But it just...
So it could be a revolving cast, like Avengers kind of thing.
But Avengers would have that problem where you'd spend so long building a team, and this is a Bendis problem for his entire career doing team books. He'll spend forever building out a team, and they will do like one thing, and then he's off the book. Like, all new X-Men.
Yeah, sure, fine. I'll give you that. But
how many stories do those characters get to tell?
At least this storyline is him trying to answer a lot of Rebirth questions.
Sure.
And nobody else is really doing that.
No, and I don't know. I it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just that I don't. I wish it was more character driven.
Sure.
Instead of being things constantly happening and the characters sort of in a group reacting to it. But I mean, some of that also comes down to the way Bendis writes characters, where 15 characters all sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, if they had more distinct personalities, I think you could get away with that story a lot easier.
I think that's more of a problem at Legion of Superheroes right now.
Yeah. Well,
Which,
I mean,
by the way, was
them.
Dr. Fate. Just you saw the back of their helmet in one panel?
Yeah.
That was it? Okay.
So, not to keep getting off on weird
at least
tangents.
Monster Boy had lines of dialogue.
Not to keep going with digressions on stuff, but
at least it's comic related.
The only email that I get that I read about like speculator stuff is cover price, and the frustration they're having trying to make sense of the Gold Lantern character is so delightful to me, because it's something that means nothing to me, but to them, like, the whole point is, okay, Gold Lantern is a character that speculators and investors are really excited about. Fans, hard to say, because there's not really much to be excited about yet, but the people who are investing money in comics are very excited about Gold Lantern. Gold's never worth nothing, apparently. But the problem is...
Look, we're just putting all of our faith in money that some king on a hill was said was worth something. Gold, I understand. You can make jewelry out of it. Silver stops werewolves. Give me some silver. That werewolf, he's dead. Bronze, you can melt it down. But paper, just a king on a hill.
What is that from?
That is Nick Miller.
That's good.
Talking about currency.
It's a good one. I think I'm
Gold, you can make jewelry out of.
I think I'm like 50% Nick Miller. I think that's my percentage.
Hey, listener, what New Girl character are you?
Yeah, well, specifically, no, I don't think anyone in the world is one New Girl
Sure,
roommate.
what is your... Instead of doing one of these...
Stupid BuzzFeed quizzes.
No, personality
Facebook
tests
ones.
where... No, that, you know, what is the famous scale for your... The letter scale for your personality or
I don't know.
That instead of doing that thing, just what percentage of each New Girl character are you?
Like, I think I'm... And self-analysis is so difficult, but I think I'm...
Yeah, it's really easy to say, oh, I think this person is this percent this percent Nick, this percent Jess, etc., etc.
Like I find myself to be 50% Nick Miller, 35% Schmidt, 15% Winston. For the record, everybody is 0% Coach.
Yeah,
that's
even
just how it works. Coach is 0% Coach.
Yeah.
But anyway, so cover price, Gold Lantern.
Wait, you didn't? Oh, did you say? You said you gave. I'm sorry, you gave your
cover price, Gold Lantern. The issue 6 of the Legion of Superheroes that just released had Gold Lantern and Monster Boy and Dr. Fate very prominently on the cover.
Meet the new recruits.
Speculators ate it up. The book blew up because, as always, there's no organic interest in the book. There's just people buying it and then other people paying more for it because everyone's buying it. It's ridiculous. It's idiotic, and I wish the whole industry would just go away. However,
DC's trying, man. DC is really trying for you.
I wish they were working faster. A whole bunch of things in the new DC catalog where it's like, new villain alert.
Yeah.
So speculators know exactly what book to buy up.
Uh-huh.
And the 1 in 25 character design variants that are going to be the most valuable ones. Legion of Superheroes 6, speculators are eating it up. They're driving the value up. And then Cover Price covers it. And they talk about how the whole point of Legion of Superheroes 6 being the hot issue is, hey, it's the first full appearance of Gold Lantern. Except it's not. Because while it's highly touted on the cover, Gold Lantern has up to 8 cameo appearances before that issue, including cover appearances, including lines of dialogue.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that, and I read that book.
So while the character is identified as Gold Lantern and features prominently in several pages of Legion of Superheroes 6, like, you are stretching to say that's the character's first appearance. So there's a lot of, like, weird, dumb, we don't know where the market's going to land on what is actually Gold Lantern's first appearance.
Wow.
And I think
that's hilarious.
So stupid and so funny, and it's the only thing I like about the speculator stuff, is when they're tying themselves in knots, trying to decide, as a group, what is the valuable one, when the only thing that makes it valuable is them all saying it's valuable. Like, I love that there's no way that the market, in reader interest, can determine what is the valuable one, because there is no reader interest. There is no character to be excited about yet.
That's great.
Fascinating.
That's
I love
great.
it.
Hey, Dal, you just said a phrase that really reminds me of something from this week.
What's that, Patrick?
You said that people coming together as a group and making a decision.
Yes.
And that is the exact opposite of what happened for Free Comic Book Day for 2020.
Yeah.
Now, for all of the pressures and things that Diamond Comics has had to do to survive and to keep retail afloat in this time, this is, and they always eat a lot of shit, but they've been doing a lot of things really well this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big miss.
Yeah.
Free Comic Book Day is no longer Free Comic Book Day. It is Free Comic Book Summer. Mm-hmm. And for...
more like Free Comic Book Bummer.
Yeah, I like it.
Back that comeback.
Oh, that's good. That is good. From July through September, what did they say? It was like 15 weeks. I don't remember the exact number.
It's a while. I mean, it basically starts, I think, July 15th, and it runs
Not
through...
counting the Marvel books that will already have been out.
They list the Marvel books as specific dates in that
okay.
function. Like,
oh, you're right, because it's July.
The first week, I think, is the X-Men one.
Okay.
And then a week later is the
So
Spider-Man
they're
one.
taking all the Free Comic Day books that were supposed to come out in one day and spreading them out, a couple every week between
up to
July
6,
and September.
Up to 6, I think, each week.
And that is a terrible idea. I understand these books have already been created and paid for, not necessarily printed, and they still want to do something with them, but I just think that they should take the example of all the music festivals and just cancel it for this year.
Yeah, on the one hand, of all the things they were talking about, I think this is the one that makes some sense to me, in that the big problem they were having was that Free Comic Book Day, like a lot of events like music festivals, is built around monetizing the most amount of people in one space at one time.
Yeah.
That's incredibly dangerous at this point. You cannot do it. So there's really no way to do a version of Free Comic Book Day during a pandemic. You just can't. You can't have that many people lined up outside your store all day. You can't have people lingering in your store for that long. You can't be interacting with that many people as someone running a store. I don't want to be ringing up 500 people in a day and having 500 people in close proximity over the day to the people working at the store. So all of that's bad. This version is... I can see where they're going with it, and I think the idea of having a version of it where people just come in each week for their books and, hey, there's a bunch of free comics, is fine. The thing that I think is going to be the most difficult thing for retailers is that all of our FOC numbers for Free Comic Book Day was built around Free Comic Book Day existing as it always has.
Yes, with a maximum number of people coming in all at once.
Yeah, we're going to be getting hundreds of copies of some of these books, and there is no way we're going to see hundreds of people over the week. Or over the months, basically. So there's a lot of comic books we're going to be absorbing for Free Comic Book Day that are basically going to be seen in 2021.
Well, not necessarily, because with the exception of, I think, the Marvel books, everything else will re-FOC.
Will it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. That's excellent.
But
they said this stuff was already in hand at
right.
Diamond.
So, yeah, I know. But like the specific The Boom article said re-FOC. Other
Okay.
places had. I just don't think Marvel's going to be able to.
That's shocker.
Yeah, but honestly, like we haven't talked about this at all. This is the first time we're talking about
Yeah.
it, but I feel like just canceling most of them.
I would trim our numbers way down. And
Remember, there's still quantities of 10.
right, but I mean, I would still trim them way down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that I think we would maybe. We don't need the volume, basically.
Oh,
so,
wait, this is great. You have to do that. It's FOCs.
Yeah, it's true. I'll take care of it. Well, I'm glad we're talking about it then, because I would just plug in numbers. Yeah, I mean, I think for like a Marvel new comic, like the Spider-Man and X-Men ones, we'll go to a certain, something close to like our X-Men numbers or something like that.
Should we just pull it for everybody who gets X-Men?
I mean,
It's the
probably will.
start of the...
Yeah, the only reason we
X-Men
wouldn't
swords.
before is like, you've got to come in on Free Comic Book Day. But
Right.
if this is like the whole summer, then what's the difference? Who cares? But things that are like reprints of other like previously published, like, the Batman Overdrive comic that's coming out.
Yeah,
like, you can
pass.
just buy it. Who
Yeah,
cares?
it's already out.
I might get some just to give out to kids or whatever, to have something for them. But there's no reason for us to get a ton of them.
Right.
Who cares?
We're not getting our usual, like, 300 copies of that or whatever.
No, I would get, 40 or 50
Yeah,
maybe.
that's
just to
fine.
be like, here you go.
That's fine.
But yeah, the brand new Spider-Man, the brand new X-Men, or stuff that like is still coming out, like promoting things that have yet to be released are good promotional tools, sure. But, stuff that's either already out or stuff that's just, I don't know, we would just get it to have things for people to pick from. We don't need to do that this time.
No,
Doesn't
definitely
matter.
not. Definitely
So
not.
yeah, I'm glad we can FOC. Then I don't have as much of a problem with it.
And best of all, you could zero out all of Blue's numbers.
Yeah, that's the absolute best part. So yeah, with that in mind, I think this is not a terrible idea. It's not useful. I mean, I'd be just as fine with them canceling it altogether. It doesn't feel like it's going to be valuable for us in any way. But if they wanted to do it, this is a way that I don't think is a disaster. There's definitely other versions that would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
This is just like, fine, but you should probably just cancel it. I agree with you on that.
Well, that'll be a weird thing. I'm sure we'll have people asking to reserve specific ones, the same way they're already asking to reserve Negan Lives.
Which I don't know how we're getting. I thought today would be the day.
It was in the email last night.
Okay. I don't think I saw that one.
It was buried at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
It is literally your order numbers for Walking Dead 193.
I figured that's what they were going to do. That
Yeah.
they would just match to that.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. That's not going to be a lot.
Well, I mean, that's 193 we actually ordered up on.
Yes? Yeah.
I'm sorry, not 193, whatever.
Well, 193 was the one they gave us. I think we ordered it, but that was the triple-sized final issue that they made triple-size without telling us.
Yeah. I mean, so, like, we're getting our normal Walking Dead numbers.
Okay.
That's fine.
I would have ordered more.
You can. You just have to pay for those.
Okay, maybe.
And it would, like, it's $4.99 cover price standard discount.
Right.
So you can order more.
Okay, maybe we'll do that.
So
then.
we're getting our regular Walking Dead numbers.
Okay, because I mean, the problem is we're already getting people who were not buying Walking Dead who want that book.
Yeah.
Which means that just Walking Dead numbers are probably going to be insufficient.
And so there's the 3 item codes.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because when I went to go look it up, it was already in the search field, like you had just done it.
I did, because I didn't know how we were getting it, and I checked and found
Yeah.
out that it had technically, because of the announcement coming so close to the release date, that it had technically already FOC'd.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, reorders are.
I'll just
able-
order more tomorrow then. If there's any left to be had.
Sure. So there's 3 iterations.
Mhm.
There's a regular cover, then there's a silver foil cover, and then there's a gold foil cover.
Okay.
But I don't think you can reorder those.
I doubt it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be shocked.
Hey, my last question for you
Patrick.
was a thing we talked about months ago.
Uh-oh.
It's a book called Batman: The 3 Jokers,
Uh-huh.
and I believe we talked about an ordering number for that book, but
Uh-huh.
I can't see any subs for that book. I don't think.
Oh, well, there's
What-
a bunch.
Okay. Well, just using your hands,
Mm-hmm.
what number would you want to get for number 1?
I can't remember how their variant cover scheme works.
It's just there's 2 covers.
Okay. I'd probably do, for the A cover.
Okay.
And for the B cover.
Okay, that is almost exactly what I did.
Yeah, okay.
But I believe when we first talked about it, that number was double.
Yeah, probably.
And honestly, my initial
whole
number
market changed though, man.
my initial number was lower than what you just said.
Sure.
But because there is an incentive to unlock,
yeah, okay.
I bumped it to what you said.
Yeah, I think the original number was more what the market was like in February.
Yeah. And that's fine. Just the reason that we're going over this is because technically it's my numbers are FOC numbers.
Yeah, you're from going forward, you don't do initial orders for DC, but you do FOC numbers for DC.
Yeah. So there's no.
Which, can you do me a favor when you're on the Lunar site next? I'm sure I could do it too, but I'll just ask you to do it.
Okay.
See if they've got a text file for the new catalog, or like a text file for the September shipping books.
Okay. I don't think so, but okay.
I don't think so either. But
I'll look for
this is the first catalog that they're having to do.
Sure. Well, like I said, they plan on doing initial orders later, but they do have a thing you can click for each item to get a description, blah blah blah. Okay. So they must have.
Maybe I'll do that. I'll look at their site. I've got the login still.
What is this text file you say so much
I was looking
about?
through the DC Connect PDF, and while I can highlight text and paste it into what we would normally have available for subscribers,
gotcha.
It's formatted terribly, and I'd have to edit so much of it to make it legible.
I figured you would just be like, out of spite, be like, hey, here's just the list of titles for DC.
No, although that said, I will probably be a lot more ruthless as far as what I list for the DC section, because they're making it so much more difficult to get those numbers to customers.
Totally fine.
So if it's something that's on the bubble, like a facsimile cover or whatever, I'll just be like, forget it, it's not worth my time.
No, definitely not. Same
thing for like annuals and stuff, like, nope. If it's a new series, a new miniseries, a one-shot, sure. But anything outside of that, like, you're making me work too hard to get these orders for your books.
Yeah. Working too hard for your books. That is the theme of comics retail right now.
Just right now.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening.
Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.